Hey guys, Desolator Magic here, and it's time for a lightning fast review of Magic Legends. Not going into detail on anything, just throwing all the details straight at your face. A lot of people say they hate the game, a lot of people say they like the game. It's very hit or miss. I personally kind of like it, but very far from a perfect product. So the number one reason to play it, the number one thing that people like is, you can jump into a world that you've been reading about in the lore of the books, on the cards. It's like you can walk up and talk to the characters that you've been playing with. That's huge. I mean, that effect ain't new. Look at like the Harry Potter movies that were formerly books. Look at Pokemon Go. Terrible, boring, poorly put together game, but Pokemon, you can interact with them in the real world in 3D. So if you're like, I don't care about seeing Tolarian Academy and walking around it and talking to the people there, well, then the game's probably not for you. Because that's the number one hook. The number one negative, I guess it's kind of split. It's kind of the same thing, though. 100% owned by a Chinese company, Perfect World Entertainment. I don't want to give China any money, period, the end. And I'm not going to. I am never going to. They're buying up property and stakes in companies and trying to basically invade other countries. They're trying to basically take over a controlling stake in Africa right now. All they do is break the law, lie, steal other people's technology. They're terrible. And they raise their kids to be racist assholes. Everybody there hates everybody from outside their country because that's what the government told them to do their whole life. They say, you're so superior, you deserve to steal everything, and the whole business model is rip somebody off because there's always tomorrow. Who cares about tomorrow? So you should not support that. We need $0 going to China, so do not give this game or Perfect World Entertainment any ounce of your money. Now, the good news is you can realistically, from what I've seen, play this for free, but they might pull an EA. Where 6 months from now, it starts getting really egregious and you basically have to, just to keep up or to see new content, get out the credit card. Neverwinter was basically never that way, but this one could go that way. So the part B of this is that it's extremely pay to win. So it's like it's extremely pay to win and the money's going to China. It's kind of all the same thing. It's not pay or get left behind like some mobile games. It's just pay to absolutely get better gear and level faster than everybody else. Now, I'm out leveling the game right now. I've just been playing the game naturally, dicking around and doing whatever I want. And I'm like level 25 already. Every time I go into a mission, I feel like I'm overpowered. And a lot of them I could just one-hit stuff. I feel zero need to level faster or get more powerful. I bet I'm going to feel differently when we get to the end game raids, which I haven't done yet. But yeah, you can, in an indirect roundabout way, but it's still there, pay for better gear, pay for better spells that just literally do more damage. So that's pretty egregious, but I don't see a reason to do it. Now, the game does have PvP, but it's in one tiny little spot. They kind of shoehorned it in, and you could just ignore it. So with it being PvE, player versus environment, you versus the game, you versus the AI, you're only really cheating yourself if you get way ahead, because then you'll just go into every mission overpowered, and who cares? But I'm sure, like I said, the endgame stuff is going to change that. My theory is that this type of setup is for 6 months from now when everybody's super high level and then they get their friend to play and they're like, hurry up. Get to level 30 so you can do some endgame stuff with us. Oh, you're way too weak. You got to get stronger because you did like nothing in that raid. And they'll think, the game's free anyway. I'll just throw them, $20-$30 and real quick just elevate all this, upgrade all my stuff and get some new artifacts and all that. To me, that's what it's for. It doesn't seem like it's a trap for the average person. It seems like it's a catch-up mechanic for people who just want to hit the go button, or for people who create a new character and don't want to go through all the slow progression, which isn't really that slow. Like I said, it's been like 2 days and I'm almost to level 30. I will say, right now, if I would have paid him about $10, all of my spells would be level 3. I just don't immediately see a need for that. If you're thinking, at some point I'm going to want some Zen in the future, remember, there's an in-game trade system where you can spend Ether to get Zen and then buy whatever you want with it. That came in real handy in Neverwinter, let me just put it that way. Also, the free version of the Battle Pass gives you some pretty good stuff. So those are the two major points. Let's just blow through the rest. I wanted to explain them so that you really get a good fundamental understanding of the most liked and the most hated things. Gameplay, I didn't find it particularly repetitive, but it's only been 2 days. There's over 1,000 spells in the game. Just throwing that out there. The enemy types, the strategies, and the attack types, they kept it pretty fresh. Optimization, graphics. I think the graphics look kind of 2012-y. It looks like, and it looks like it because this is what they did. They use ultra modern tools, high texture stuff, really nice fancy lighting and all that to put things in very lazily. So they use really good modern tools to build a really crappy world extremely quickly. So like the placement of the grass and stuff is just weird. Some of the layering, you start to lose the mouse cursor. It gets a little too chaotic. You can target spells just fine on stone. It's almost impossible to target spells on grass. And like I said, the graphics, they don't exactly look like Far Cry 5, They're sharper, prettier, and there's more particles and shadows than there would have been 10 years ago, but it doesn't look any more real than 10 years ago. Also, in some zones I get 140 FPS, in some zones I get 31. At least that was while streaming. I got 50 plus no matter what with a 1080 Ti. Everybody complaining about the performance is running an RTX card, pretty much, or like something really old and slow. Just force ray tracing off. I've already done a video about this. They're going to probably add it as an option, but if you can't do it in GeForce Experience, wait 2 weeks to be able to do it with NVIDIA Inspector. I checked, there's no JSON file, config file, or INI file that you can use right now to force the game to turn that off. Hell, in the NVIDIA control panel, you might be able to force it off actually globally. You shouldn't have to. The game wasn't tested at all, clearly. I mean, they didn't, what do they call that? Like balance or optimize certain locations. I should not be getting triple the frame rate just because I went to a place with slightly less grass waving around. They clearly didn't care. And also, this game's extremely rushed. We're missing item names where I had the UI freeze up a couple times. I've played worse, glitchier games. Trust me, this game's like 99% perfect, especially compared to like Cyberpunk or just some absolute disaster like Fallout 76. But there's some issues with like, it'll say a mythic thing spawned and then it either died when it hit the ground or somebody killed it, but then it keeps flashing into existence, so it says it's still there, and then it's been like a couple minutes, you're like, oh, it's gonna retreat, I could go kill it, and then you walk around and it's not actually there, or you see it flicker into existence for a second, or it's not where they marked it on the map and you gotta wander around and just waste your time. I mean, did they even test this game? So I wouldn't call it an absolute glitchy disaster that's unplayable, but there's some stuff that's pretty egregious that you'd see it and you're like, they should have done better. This is pretty bad. Also, just from a usability standpoint, there's a lot of, well, why is this happening? Like, why did this just happen? Why is this the way it is? What do they mean by this? Where do you get this? Oh, I hovered over this, but it won't tell me what it is. A lot of just initial confusion. I'm sure I could just learn the stuff, but I could learn a lot faster if they, labeled it. There's a couple things where in parentheses they explain, that means this. And you're like, oh, that's what that term means. And then there's a lot else where they're just like, we're not going to put any parentheses in. You just have to guess what that means. Like, guess what utility potency means. Well, does that mean healing and damage or just damage? So I could tell the game was rushed. It probably could have used a couple extra months, but this is how Cryptic and how Chinese companies tend to work. They rush stuff out. They don't care about quality. They just have something that vaguely kind of works on the surface, and that's good enough for them in physical and digital goods. I mean, look at literally any company making anything in China. It's not like, let's craft something really, really good, high quality because of the reputation of our company and the long-term health of our product and our company's bottom line. No, that would be Japan you're thinking of. In China, it's like vaguely put it together as quickly as possible. Money, money, money. I need money now. They teach their kids, and all of society has turned this way in the last 30 years. Nothing matters other than your bank account balance. Making money is your entire purpose in life. And that's why you get so many greedy ripoff artists who do not care about anything. They can pop up another business under another name somewhere else. It's very easy to do in China. That's just how it is. It's very similar in Turkey. I mean, some countries are just like that. That's just how the culture is. That's what's acceptable to them. It's not acceptable to me, so I'm not giving them any money. So one last thing is I have reason to believe that the security of the game isn't quite as tight as Neverwinter. They never had a big hack. They never had people flying around doing 9999 damage or stealing, currency from anybody. They knew it was an online game. They kept it pretty tight. Did they design this game with the same standards? I have reason to believe no, and I'm not going to elaborate. I don't want to help anyone who's going to damage the game, let's put it that way. Is it going to be Modern Warfare 3 on the PC or GTA 5? No, it's not going to get to that level. Those companies should be in jail for the level of disservice they've done to the gaming community as a whole. It's a disgrace. When you reach that level of a defective product where you can't even jump on for 30 minutes and play the damn game, ever, that's when the FTC needs to step in and say, control your damn game, and take it from not some corporate suit who cares about the bottom line and all this other crap and development costs. Take it from a programmer, okay? I have 2 degrees in software engineering. You can make a cheat-free game, and you can address cheating if you build it into the fundamental engine of the game. You can add boot time directly detect certain things. You can check them from checksums that you get from the web. You can have encrypted DLLs that only load when half the game loads. You can have dual EXEs that check each other, and if one gets terminated, the other either resurrects it or crashes on purpose. You can do top-level expert VM detection with like hardware percentage profiling. I mean, if they took a couple months and actually gave a crap, they could lock down GTA 5. But it took them, well, it didn't even take them 10 years. It took somebody else a couple minutes to fix their loading times by 82%. And according to him, it was written like an absolute clueless dumbass wrote the loading system. It's the most inefficient way to do it mathematically, and they never fixed it, never took a look at it. So if you think the game's too big and complicated, you can't prevent people from hacking it. No, you can. That's a lie. That's absolute bullshit. In Call of Duty MW3, with people flying through the air, shooting, Barrett 50s with no scope directly through walls, killing 10 people in 4 seconds, if the game engine detected that, it's not possible to do that, and that nobody should be at y-axis above blah because you can't jump higher than that in the map, the person would have gotten instant ban just by the physics engine, let alone the number of kills they got in a second, which should have banned them. None of that was built into the game. Every shooter, they don't build that in the game. They're too lazy and incompetent. Even Warframe is a joke. Apparently, they don't care about making money. Because when the cheaters start coming, I leave. Because like in Apex Legends, I was one of the best players in the game. And then suddenly I steadily got worse. And then when they announced they banned 250,000 people, suddenly I was one of the top players in the game again. And then 2 weeks later, I wasn't. What a complete waste of my time and my life. Bye. So if they're like, this is basically an MMORPG, there actually is an in-game auction house, by the way. It's stupidly limited, unfortunately. But like, they have to have the integrity of drops and gear and fair gameplay, or their game's gonna die instantly. Like, MMOs are even more sensitive than, I guess, shooters, even though they're not. But if they saw it that way, they protected it. But I've seen stuff already, like in the code and the way they handle passwords and stuff, that I'm just like, that's gonna be a no for me, bro. So that could potentially be the most concerning thing, because it doesn't matter how much you enjoy the game if you get your account hacked, or somebody steals all your items, or somebody else has infinite money. Or people could like bust into your session without an invite, kill everything, and then give you no rewards. So if that kind of crap starts happening, oh, that's it for me. So at the end of the day, the overriding factor is it's a Chinese company. I can't support that, and I'm actively damaging them by playing the game for free. But if you're like me and you just want to hop on, have some fun with friends, and play the game for like a month or two or something, go for it. I don't think it has staying power past that, though. Like Neverwinter and like DDO, I played them for probably, I think, 3 years and like 6 years. SRO, I think I played for about 2 or 3 years. So I tend to stick with stuff. Like if I'm going to invest time and stuff into an MMO and have fun and get to the really end game high level stuff, then I'm going to do it. I'm going to start a big guild and I'm going to be that, that big famous dude in the game. If I want to play something casual, I'll go single player, play Skyrim or something. So this game's close. It's a lot more of an MMORPG than we thought. It has raids, it has parties, it has instances, it has an auction house, it has PvP. It really resembles an MMO. RPG, I should say, like a traditional one, until you just get into, oh, it's an action game. It has action-based combat. So that's a little arcadey, but a lot of people thought it would be, Minecraft Dungeons meets Gauntlet Legends, two painfully boring games with painfully boring repetitive controls. This is the opposite. I mean, just some of the high-level boss attacks and how you gotta dodge them and stuff, this is like flirting with Demon Souls level or Dark Souls. Like, you really gotta think, and then like you're like, oh, they're gonna spray this, and I need to do this, and I need to do this to dodge this, I need to hit him with range, I need to use this, oh, but then this spell came up, so I need to do this. It's very thought heavy, and the targeting is very precise, so it takes a little while to get very good at the game, which means that it's pretty dynamic and it's not very repetitive. So as far as long-term play, I just can't trust Perfect World Entertainment and Wizards of the Coast both together to not put in egregious, like you have to buy it stuff in a couple months. I think they will. I really do. So I'd say play it till you get bored, jump on, dick around with your friends, it's free, and never give them a penny, and then jump off when something better comes around. That's my official recommendation. So for all of you who saw other YouTubers all universally dumping on it from what I've heard, and then I absolutely dumped on it just seeing the beta footage initially, the alpha footage, and learning that it's not a traditional MMO in the style of Neverwinter. I said initially there's no way in hell this is going to be good. I think I even said that a week out. And now I've seemed to have flipped, at least in the initial videos or the live stream I did, because, I was having fun, whatever, cool. But when I sit back and think about it, I really can't recommend this game because of overriding factors. There's nothing stopping you from jumping on, playing for free, dicking around, making one character, and just, having a fun time with the guys on a Friday night. Also, you need like a supercomputer to run this game, which kind of keeps the 12-year-olds away, which is good because 12-year-olds always invade free games because they don't have credit cards and they tend to have really weak computers that they're trying to push a little too far, and that ain't gonna fly in this game. But as far as the community, I haven't interacted with them too much, but they seem polite and helpful. Your typical kind of like Magic the Gathering player where like 10-20% of the community is just absolute degenerate trolls with some kind of social disorder that involves bullying people to feel superior. And just being a sarcastic, mean asshole because internet and because they have no social skills. But like most people are helpful and, literate and can type. It's an online game that's free, okay? The bar is really low. So the community gets a solid 7 out of 10 on this game. I guess that's the last factor that I had in my notes. So, yeah, it's a pretty quick overview of all the important stuff. Plus a mini rant about China and how much everybody hates them and how much they need to be stopped. No matter where you live, if it's in the US, pressure your congressperson to start passing laws, especially at the state level, that doesn't let China buy a stake in any company, buy any more real estate, any land, anything. Just kick China out of every country. That's what needs to be done now. And by now, I mean 3 years ago. Oh, not sponsored, but check out ChinaNever.com. Products not made in China. If I remember, they don't even sell the products. They just have lists of brands. So that includes my rapid fire but extensive review of Magic Legends. Make your own decision, and you'll probably see me on it for a little while. So jump in my party and start slaying evil. I'll see you guys next video.